What if I told you most people don't stay broke because they don't work hard? They stay broke because they're using the wrong equation. And the scary part is, almost nobody talks about it. Hi, I'm Robert, and what I'm about to share is a trap we've all been taught to believe without even realizing it. Because the formula we've all been taught sounds logical: work more, earn more, save more, retire someday. But in the real world, that formula is too slow, too fragile, and for most people, it quietly fails. Meanwhile, a small group of people seem to build wealth faster than everyone else. Not because they're smarter, not because they're luckier, but because they understand one invisible formula, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. By the end of this video, I'm going to break down that formula in the simplest way possible and show you why one person can earn a decent income for 30 years and still feel stuck, while another builds real wealth in a fraction of the time. And here's the twist: it has less to do with how much money you make and more to do with what your money is connected to. Let's start with a simple question. Why do so many high-income people still feel financially stressed? You've seen it. Maybe you know someone like this. They make good money, they drive a nice car, live in a nice place, travel sometimes, look successful from the outside, but behind the scenes, they're trapped. Because their income goes up and their lifestyle goes up with it. Then their bills go up, their obligations go up, their stress goes up, and suddenly, they're not building wealth, they're just renting a more expensive version of survival. That's the first big misunderstanding about money. Income is not wealth. Income can make you look rich, wealth gives you freedom. And those are not the same thing. A person earning a lot, but depending on active work every month, is standing on thin ice. If they stop working, the machine stops. So if hard work alone doesn't create wealth, what does? Here's where the real formula starts. The wealth formula nobody talks about is this: wealth equals income times ownership times time times leverage. Not just income, ownership, time, and leverage. Miss one of these, and wealth stays small. Stack all four together, and things start compounding in a way that looks almost unfair. That's why some people seem to move slowly for years, then suddenly explode financially. It wasn't sudden. The formula was working in the background. So let's unpack this, piece by piece. Because the first part is what almost everyone focuses on, and it's also the least powerful part. Income matters. Of course it does. You need cash flow to survive. You need margin to invest. You need money coming in before you can direct it anywhere. But income alone has a ceiling. There are only so many hours you can work, only so much energy you can sell, only so much stress you can absorb. If your wealth depends entirely on your personal effort, you've built a system with a built-in limit. Think of income like fuel. Fuel is important, but fuel sitting in a tank doesn't win the race. It only matters if it powers something bigger. And this is where most people get stuck for years. They obsess over earning more but never ask the more important question: what is this income buying me? Is it buying status, convenience, temporary comfort? Or is it buying assets, skills, distribution, equity, attention, optionality? Because one paycheck can disappear into lifestyle or become the seed of something that pays you back for years. That difference changes everything. And that leads to the second piece, the one almost no one talks about enough. Ownership is where wealth stops being linear. Employees earn. Owners earn and gain upside. That upside is what creates disproportionate wealth. Let me make this simple. If you work for a company, you can be paid very well. But if the company grows 10 times, your salary usually does not grow 10 times. If you own part of that company, now you're connected to the growth. That's the difference. The wealthy don't just work for money. They position themselves to own things they can grow without requiring equal amounts of labor. Businesses, stocks, real estate, intellectual property, media libraries, brands, systems, equity. Audience, ownership means your effort can continue paying you after the moment of work is over. That's why two people can work equally hard and get completely different results. One gets paid once, the other gets paid again and again because they own the thing. This is also why the internet changed the game. Today, ownership doesn't always mean buying a factory or owning buildings. You can own a brand, a niche audience, a digital product, a newsletter, a YouTube channel, a community, a piece of software, a portfolio of assets. And once you understand this, you start seeing a painful truth. A lot of people are spending their best years helping build assets they will never own. And if that hits a nerve, good. Because the next part explains why some owners still stay small, while others become unstoppable. Time is the part people underestimate the most. Everyone wants fast money. Very few people build long compounding cycles. But wealth loves time. Not because time magically solves everything, but because time allows good decisions to stack. A small investment repeated over years becomes large. A strong brand built consistently becomes trusted. An audience nurtured over time becomes distribution. A good business improves through repetition. Skills become rare. Relationships become valuable. Assets appreciate. Compounding does what effort alone cannot. Here's what's crazy. At the beginning, compounding is boring. Almost invisible, it feels like nothing is happening. That's why most people quit too early. They plant seeds, then dig them up every few weeks to check if they're growing. But the people who build real wealth understand something emotionally difficult. The early phase looks unimpressive. The payoff comes later. That's why patience is not just a personality trait. It's an economic advantage. And there's something else. Time works in both directions. If you own the right assets, time makes you richer. If you carry the wrong habits, bad debt, and lifestyle inflation, time makes you more trapped. So time is not automatically your friend. Time amplifies whatever system you're already running. Which brings us to the final part of the formula, the part that turns small effort into massive results. Leverage is how one unit of effort produces many units of result. This is where wealth starts to scale. There are many forms of leverage. Money is leverage, code is leverage, media is leverage, teams are leverage, systems are leverage, audience is leverage, technology is leverage. Without leverage, you are pushing the car yourself. With leverage, you build an engine. For example, one person gives one-on-one advice all day. They get paid for every hour worked. Another person turns their knowledge into content, products, systems, or equity. Same brain, same expertise. But one stays trapped in direct exchange. The other creates something that can reach 10 people, 1,000 people, or 1 million people without starting from zero every time. That's leverage. And once leverage combines with ownership, the results stop looking normal. This is why some people seem to accelerate out of nowhere. You're seeing the moment when ownership, time, and leverage finally click together. But now we need to talk about the biggest trap of all, because knowing the formula is one thing. Actually using it is another. The biggest trap is this. People use extra income to upgrade lifestyle instead of upgrading position. That one mistake delays wealth for years, sometimes decades. They earn more and celebrate by increasing recurring expenses. Bigger house, better car, more subscriptions, more status costs, more financial pressure, and every upgrade steals capital from future ownership. It feels like progress, but often it's just deeper dependency. The wealthy often look boring in the building phase. They buy time back, they buy assets, they buy skills. They buy distribution, they buy equity, they buy room to breathe. They don't need every dollar to prove something right now, because they're trying to own tomorrow. And that's the mindset shift. Stop asking, how do I make more money this month? Start asking, how do I use this month's money to own something that still matters next year? That single question can change your financial life. So let's put the formula together one more time. Wealth equals income times ownership times time times leverage. Income starts the process. Ownership gives you upside. Time compounds the gains. Leverage scales the results. If you only have income, you survive. If you add ownership, you begin to build. If you give it time, it compounds. If you add leverage, it can explode. And this is why wealth often looks mysterious from the outside. People think someone blew up. No, they built quietly in the right direction. They stopped chasing money only as consumption and started using money as a tool for position. That's the formula nobody talks about. Not because it's hidden, but because it's less exciting than shortcuts and more demanding than motivation. It asks you to think long-term in a short-term world. And that alone already puts you ahead of most people. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Right now, is your effort only producing income? Or is it building ownership time, and leverage too, because that difference determines whether you stay on the treadmill or eventually step off it. If this video shifted how you think about money, send it to someone who needs to hear it.